So everybody really quickly, go ahead and write this pattern down, 12, 8, 4, 0. And then I want you to go ahead and try to answer these questions. Okay, so let's look at this. The first thing I look at when I look at these patterns is I say, okay, is it increasing or decreasing? Well, I went from 12 and I got to 0. So that's definitely decreasing. That was pretty simple. And by the way, these 3 dots, it's just a way of writing continue. Means the pattern continues. You have to put the 3 dots, dot, 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 means that imagine that this pattern continues. And then it says, write the common difference or ratio. So I know that it's getting smaller, right, from 12 to 0. So I know it's decreasing, so it's going to be going down. The first thing I'm going to try doing is trying subtraction. So I'll say, okay, from 12 to 8, how do I get from 12 to 8 if I'm subtracting? Like, oh, I can minus 4. 12 minus 4 is 8. Let's see if that pattern holds. 8 minus 4 is 4. That works. How about 4 minus 4? That's 0. So cool. That means that this is, we knew it was decreasing, but because we know it's subtraction, we know that it's a difference, not a ratio. And that difference is minus 4, right? Now, because it's a difference, is it arithmetic or geometric? Oh, that means it has to be arithmetic, because arithmetic is addition or subtraction, and geometric is multiplication or division, but we just do them all as multiplications. And that neither will come across. That's if it didn't add, didn't subtract, didn't multiply or divide to get that ratio. And then, what is the first term of the sequence? We talked about this. Because it's a sequence, we assume, unless it's labeled otherwise, whatever we see first is the first term. So our first term, and the way we're going to write that, I'm not even going to write that right now. We're going to get to that later. Our first term is 12. And then it says, and the next term in the sequence. So it's saying 12, 8, 4, 0, dot, dot. My next term in my sequence would be 0, and I'd have the minus 4. What's 0 minus 4? Negative 4. Do you see how we did that? So the next one, I want you to go ahead and try it really quick. See if you get it. Here we go. Boom. Go ahead and try it. I'm hoping you already did it, because if you didn't, you're going to struggle later. Again, really quickly, is this increasing or decreasing? I see that it's getting smaller. So right off the bat, I know it's decreasing. Cool. That means that I may be subtracting or multiplying by a fraction. So I look and say, let's find out. So if I'm going from 64 to 32, I could subtract 32 to get there, right? But 32 minus 32 would be 0. Is that 0? That is not 0, so that's not going to work. So I know that it's not a difference. That's gone. So the only thing left to do is it a ratio? Well, a ratio means I'm multiplying or dividing or really multiplying by a fraction. But a lot of people, and I have this problem too, is I like to think of division first. So I think of 64 divided by what would give me 32. And I go, 64 divided by 2 would give me 32, right? But how are we going to write divide by 2? And again, the way we write that is the same as multiplying by 1/2. If you don't believe that, go ahead and put that in your calculator and you can look. 64 divided by 2 or 64 times 1/2. We get the same answer. So now that I know that, let's see if that works for the next one. What is 32 times 1/2? Well, it's 16. And 16 times 1/2? That's 8. So that's definitely going to be R, and the R is going to be, I put a 4, because I was thinking 4 is the next term. It is going to be 1/2. And so R means it's a ratio, so that means it's an R, and if it's a ratio, is it arithmetic or geometric? The answer is, it's geometric. Geometric is when you multiply. And then what is the first term in the sequence? Again, that should be straightforward, because we just looked, the first one I see is 64, so that must be my first term. And then what's the next term of the sequence? All I do is go to this last term and say, okay, if I continue this, what's 8 times 1/2? And that's why I put that 4 there, because I was thinking in my head. The next term of the sequence is 4. Okay? Let's try another one. I'm hoping you already did this. I'm hoping you're hitting pause, trying it, and then hitting play to verify you're getting it. So again, increasing or decreasing. This is getting bigger, so this is increasing. I'm going a little faster now. Is there a common difference or a ratio? Well, I first always check to see if it's a difference. So I say, oh, this could be plus 4, right? Because 9 plus 4 would be 13, yes? But is 13 plus 4 17? Well, yes, it is. We're good. And plus 4 here is 21. So, oops. So I know that I have a difference, and that difference is 4. I don't need to put plus. And if it's a difference, is it a arithmetic or geometric? The answer is it's arithmetic, because arithmetic is adding or subtracting. And then the first term, I see this first, so that must be my first term. And my next term in the sequence would just be, if I take 21 and add 4 to it, I'd get 25. Cool beans? All right, here we go. Try another one. All right. Who struggled with this one a little bit? So let's take a look at this one. Is it increasing or decreasing? Well, it's definitely increasing because I started at 1 and it ended at 16 before I started doing dots. So I know it's increasing. But is it a common difference or is it a common ratio? Well, let's take a look. To get from 1 to 4, I could go plus 3. I always try to add first because that's the simplest one. But if I try to add 3 to 4, is that 9? No, it would be 7, so that doesn't work. So I know it's not a common difference. So the common difference, not that. All right, well then let's see, what can I multiply? Well, 1 times 4 would be 4, right? But 4 times 4 is definitely not 9. 4 times 4 is 16, so that doesn't work either. So it's not a ratio. So if it's not a difference or a ratio, so it's say not applicable. And so identify arithmetic, geometric, sequence, or neither. Well, this is that neither case I was talking about, where sometimes you have a pattern. It's still a pattern. I can tell you, I know the next pattern, this is going to be 25, and this is going to be 36, and then it's going to be, 36, oh my gosh, 49. Jeez. 64, 81, 100, maybe that'll tip you off a little bit. There is a pattern here, it's just not arithmetic or geometric. The actual pattern here, there's a couple ways people go about this, and one of them is they say it goes by consecutive odd numbers, so plus 3, plus 5, plus 7, and so on and so forth. Or some people will say, oh, this is 1 squared, 2 squared, 3 squared, 4 squared. And those are both patterns, but are they arithmetic or geometric? The answer is there are neither, so it's just neither. But I still can say what the first term is. The first term is 1. And the next term in the sequence, if I can figure it out, is 25. But again, this is not arithmetic or geometric, because that can happen. All right, I think that's it. Nope, we got one more. Let's go ahead and do this one. Hopefully you've done it. Right off the bat, increasing or decreasing, that's getting bigger, so it's increasing. I'm going from a half to 1. So there's some couple cheats you can use. If you see a 0 in your sequence, chances are it's arithmetic, because if you multiply anything times 0, it's 0. So zeros don't usually happen in geometric sequences. And if you see you're going from a half to a positive, and then you're staying positive, then that's usually a sign that you are doing geometric, because if I go 1/2, if I add a half to that, shouldn't it be 1.5? So there's something. So that's usually some tips to let you know. So let's see. Is it a difference? If you didn't see that, you can always just go, okay, well 1/2. I can't make this fit, so I'm gonna come down a little bit. Plus 1/2 would be 1, but 1/2 plus 1 is 1.5, so that difference doesn't work. So I know that's not going to work. What about a ratio? Well, let's see. 1/2 times 2 would be 1, and 1 times 2 would be 2, and 2 times 2 would be 4. So this is a ratio, and that ratio is 2, which means if it's a ratio, it is geometric. And then what's the first term? The first term is 1/2, and if this sequence holds, the next term in the sequence would be 8. Cool? Okie dokie. Let's see, am I done? I'm done! All right, and that's it. Da-da-da-da-da-da.